Beach Boys have a Matt Wilson? Matt Wilson and the Beach Boys? Two of us are old enough to know
There's
this.
Wilson Phillips. Nobody's going to admit to knowing that one.
There's a volleyball. There's, hey, Mr. Wilson.
Yeah, Wilson. You've
Yeah.
heard it all, I'm sure.
Yeah, my dad was, the Dennis the Menace. Hey, Mr. Wilson.
Yeah.
And then mine was the volleyball. So
We named a dog. I raised and sell some police dogs, and we named a dog Wilson. And my recall for him was Wilson.
Right.
And he would fucking come booking
just
it.
as hard as possible. You're like, that should have happened in the movie. Like, Tom Hanks wouldn't have been so sad.
Are you recording? Are we good?
Yeah, we're ready.
All right.
Are we supposed to?
No.
Yeah, your hands have to be up like this.
Are we announcing a sports game?
It's very proper. It's very proper. It reminds me to keep my mouth on the big phallic. Perfect.
Okay. I'll be right here.
We actually get guys that start talking like this,
Yeah.
and they're like, it's so
like
easy to
echoing.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we're all like up in here.
Sometimes it's us.
Yeah.
Sometimes we
Used
do.
to be. We're a little better.
Right.
Not much. All right, ready?
Yep.
Welcome to Police Canine Radio. I'm Greg Tawney. With me, Rich Hartman. Rich, what's going on?
It's a big day today. We're here with the Ray Allen.
Mr. Allen, how are you, sir?
The myth, the legend. I look great for 162 years old.
So can we, and I'm sure you've been through this a fucking 1,000 times already, can we dispel all that? You get on, we watch the Ray Allen videos, we want to buy some stuff, you're the face of the place. Can you remind everybody that you are not Ray Allen, and I assume he's no longer with us?
He is not.
Uncle
he
Ray.
passed in 91.
Oh,
Yeah. So,
okay. All right.
Yeah. So I'm Matt Wilson with Ray Allen Manufacturing. And I say that at the beginning of every single video, and everybody's like, "Oh, what's up, Ray Allen?" Like every single time.
How did you, long story short, how did you get into the whole thing? We've been in the canine game for a long time. Always got excited when the Ray Allen stuff came out. It's like, it's almost as cool as Victoria's Secret catalog, looking through all the information. Almost.
Right.
Yeah.
What's that look for, Greg? Hold on.
Well, across the line, it's not like women in burlap.
Oh, there
It's
you go.
really odd.
Those 1970s photo shoots where they're wearing different bikinis. Yeah. Burlap would have been a good one. So I started like in K9 in 06. Not K9, just in dogs. My first job, I was 16 years old, and the only place that would hire me that wasn't food was PetSmart.
There you go.
So I started working there as a cashier. Realized very quickly I'm not built for that. Not a cashier in any way. So I was going to leave. Those big companies, they don't like turnover, especially quickly, because it looks back on management and everything. So they offered me, they were like, well, we have a dog trainer position open, and we think that would be a good thing for you. So I became a dog trainer, and I'll put that in quotes because it's a PetSmart dog trainer, and did that for a little while. Really had a knack for it. I can talk to anybody. So I started doing that, and then I had a border collie at the time that was like my demo dog, and we were doing a lot of kind of like ranch work and stuff like that, and a couple of the ranchers had German Shepherds that they did bite work with, and so I got into that. Got my first Malinois, was buying Ray Allen equipment because it was local and it was USA made, which were super important to me. And about 10 years ago, I was in there buying equipment, and one of the guys that's been there for now 26 years, but I had grown to know him, and he was like, "Hey man, you should just work here." And I was like, "All right, when do I start?" And he goes, "Tomorrow." I was like, "I'll be here." And I actually showed up, and and showed up for an interview, and they hired me, and I've been there ever since. So I've been there almost 10 years.
And it's obvious from watching the videos, watching you love especially creating stuff. It seems like, maybe I'm seeing it
the
all
design
wrong,
part.
but it looks like the design part is pretty cool. And I think if somehow you guys out there are living under a rock and you haven't gone to Ray Allen, the cool thing is there's a whole bunch of shit that you've sourced, that Ray Allen has sourced from all over different.
Right.
You can get medical gear, you can get uniforms, you can get treadmills. But then there's a side where you're like, hey, we have some passion here and we want to create some shit too.
Yeah, so I will say we don't do the uniform stuff anymore.
It's on the website.
It
So
was a little bit of it. We still got some proper left. The real thing for us is we want to provide everything besides the dog and the food. You know, that's what we do. And, you know, not only for like government contract side, but then also like, you know, the ease of buying for anybody. You know, so if you need a harness, collar, leash, bowls, kennel, you know, A to B, we got it.
Yeah, and as former handlers, a lot of times, it's hard to buy shit when you're going through an agency, right?
Right.
And the ease of having the agency say, hey, if we have a contract here, or you're using the card for this one business, and like you said, you can get everything from the leash to the harness to the bowl. You know, like when you're outfitting a dog in the beginning, especially as a new handler, and you really don't know what you need. I mean, you end up with a lot of, like, if you send those guys out shopping, fuck, who knows what they're going to come back with a whole lot of worthless handler stuff is what they're going to come back with.
Gary's going to be rich.
So it's nice that they can be like, hey, this is your list, and 100%. We can talk about what Greg's doing now, but this is your list,
absolutely.
and then this is what you need to do. Go get this shit, and then one card, finance is happy, worthless handler's pissed, but everybody else is everybody else is getting their stuff right. And then you can use your own card to go buy a bunch of stickers and T-shirts from those guys. But
Exactly.
Yeah, like for us, this partnership wasn't a mistake. Like we looked at everybody that was out there that was making equipment, and that was one of the factors too. Was, you know, can we be a one-stop shop where we're getting everything at once, where I can get a brand new handler that's getting ready to start a basic handler class and go, here's your list, here's where you call, boom, in 3 days, all that shit shows up at their house. And, you know, and then obviously the quality of everything that you're putting out. And that's what's funny is because back in the day, it was like the Ray Allen catalog comes out and you're thinking like, oh, the equipment back then, but man, you guys just keep innovating and updating and innovating. We were talking about it at your booth about, you know, stuff that you got sitting on your kitchen counter that you're just tinkering with and you're just putting together. And I mean, I think that's what that sets you apart from your competition is you guys are continuously coming out with new stuff, updating stuff, making it better.
What's the process on that? What makes you decide, hey, we're going to create something new? Is it client, you know, driven, or is it you just nerding out, can't sleep, had a couple?
See a plastic bag down the street and I'm like, that would be a cool harness. I think, you know, going back to what you're saying about the, you know, especially the time in Ray Allen, right? Like 75 years, started in 1948. If you think about any other like tactical company, right? Not now, but in the past, right? The guys that were making the bandoliers in Vietnam, that company's not around anymore, you know, because they made this really good product for the job that it needed. And then they never innovated and kept going, you know? So it's like, you know, our big thing is if you're around for 75 years, you have to keep moving. You know, people aren't buying the 1970s leather harnesses anymore. Mm-hmm. I mean, actually the military still does every once in a while if they need an NSN number. But yeah, they're not doing that. So you need to innovate for the end user, right? And sometimes, you know, the first product that, you know, I had kind of invented, you know, developed, whatever, was user, you know. So we had a couple guys from group that were traveling and they needed to hide the e-collar. You know, that was important because when they went through Eurocom, like, you know, they're going through the airport, they have to have an e-collar because their dogs are smoking hot. And, you know, they kept getting in trouble for it. Having people tell them they had to take it off because it's illegal there and everything. So they're like, we need a collar that hides it. So we made one, you know, and then that turned into you know, the elusive that everybody loves, you know. So it's sometimes it comes from users, sometimes it comes from partnerships. You know, Mike Jones in California, Primal Canine, is a big partner of ours. You know, I like I said, that border collie, he loved treats. He was a treat hound, and I would come home from, you know, training and like have treats in my cargo pocket or my hoodie and my sweatshirt, and like he would find it in the closet and just you know, eat out the
get the little hole in the pockets. Like, God dang it,
that was my favorite hoodie.
100%.
I think we've been there.
Yeah, everybody's had that. So Mike was like, hey, like I want to be able to train, but then like I don't want the vest, I don't want like the skirt, like I want to be able to kind of do it incognito. And I was like, oh, that's a perfect name. So I developed a pouch for a hoodie, you know, that's incognito, that stays inside, that the dog doesn't know you have a training pouch on. So, you know, there's a lot that kind of goes into it. So it can be something like that, you know, and then like, you know, like the dog trainer fanny pack, you know, we I hang out with a lot of, group guys. I've built relationships with those guys for a long time, and they're all Eurocom guys, and all the Europeans wear fanny packs constantly. And the reason is because they can't get pickpocketed as easy, and
Yeah.
and then it turned into, oh, this is nice not to have in your pockets. It's just in front, and so they're running a small, Patagonia or Fjallraven or whatever it was, and then they start picking up steam again, and I'm like, we should make a dog trainer version of that, make it tactical, make it look good, but make it functional, and then and it was like a lot of people go, hey, we need a bigger version. So
Do you ever flirt with the bright colors? Like you can do the Fjallravens.
right.
I'm going to say that all fucked up, and my wife's going to give me
Fajal.
shit. Yeah, because she's a big fan. Like, hey, we got this. Let's try a pink and a turquoise.
Right. If it was me, yes. No, I like the flamboyant colors. No, I yes and no. It really depends on if what's going to sell, what's not going to sell, right? So, with our users, it's typical military, typical police, right, that are not going to be going down the rabbit hole of like a burnt orange, which I like it. It looks awesome, but they're just not going to go for it.
Right.
So, if you did like a one-off, we sell 10, like we've done stuff like that, but as like an actual product that needs to be on the shelf in shipping and marketable, and like that's just not going to be it. So
What happens when you put out a product and it doesn't work the way you want it to work? Like, what's that process look like? Or you bring in a product and you're like, hey, this looks really good. Because the cool thing is, maybe it's not cool, but on your guys' site, you can have reviews, right? And there's inevitably going to be something that gets a slew of 2 stars. What do you guys try and get with that company if it's not your stuff, and try and like, hey, can you guys fix your shit? And
100%.
yeah, is that
yeah, I mean, I'm not going to drop names because I'm not that guy, but like, you bring in a thing from a very well-known company that everybody uses that is actually innovative, but like the follow-through didn't happen, and then it just keeps getting returns and keeps getting returns and keeps getting returns, and we talk to them and they either go, yeah, we're going to, hey, sorry about that, this is what we're doing, and boom, 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 or we just go, cool, that product's no longer there, and like, we're not going to offer a product that sucks,
Yeah.
Like, that's also very important, and if it comes on our side, like, yeah, I mean, for us, I would say like, there's products that have like special use, right? So like a couple years ago, I developed a tug dangler, which was, it goes in your plate carrier, you rip open the Velcro, put the tug there so that you didn't have to stuff it in your pocket anymore.
right?
And that came out of like a very specific use for very specific people that wear those kind of plate carriers. That isn't like a huge mover,
Right.
like it's not going to be, it's not, everybody's not buying it. It's not the fanny pack, right? So that isn't like a loss, but we already know it's not going to be a huge mover.
Yeah.
But if it was like, we've developed stuff like where like we put it out and like, oh, no one's buying it. Is our marketing bad? Marketing look good. Okay, no one's buying it. All right, it must be a shit product. Bye.
Or there's just a lack of understanding. And I think that's what I like about the videos that you're
Right.
doing, the little short videos. Is like, I might see something like that fanny pack and not, especially once you put it all together and it's got all the shit on. I'm like, oh, there's some value to that. Where like now seeing it in use, it's more appealing to me or the consumer, right? Like, so I think there's value once somebody shows you how it's done. Because I think a young handler that's got 2 years on gets his new dog and he's looking through, or no, I'm sorry, he's scrolling now, looking through everything, and he's like, that looks cool, but what do I do with it?
Right. Well, and like the thing is you have to give most people like a reason to, like whatever that is, right? Like if you're in the dog, right? If you're talking about some philosophy that you're trying to train, you got to give them reason to try it. Is your dog doing this? This can help. So it's kind of like the same thing with this. We go, is this your mission? This is why. And this is the product that you can
That
use
you need for that.
mission,
Yeah. And for us, I think is what swayed us. And again, we won't get into names, but we were using some equipment that was causing dogs problems. We were using a harness that was causing dogs problems. And the problem specifically was they were losing air and passing out while being in an agitated mode. Like if they're doing bite work and we were holding back and they were moving forward, it was causing, I would say, somewhere in the area of 30% of the dogs to lose significant amount of
or on
hair.
the track, he's trying to breathe, and
Sounded
you
like
can
a
tell.
French bulldog.
Yep.
You're like, "Whoa."
Yep.
Yeah, and then we tried to get that rectified, and it just wasn't a priority. Which is, for us, it's scary because now we have a span of about 100 dogs that we're seeing, and then we know that there's thousands of dogs in California where we work, and the product was continuing to go out, and they were kind of trying to work with just us, but it wasn't being solved industry wide. And so I think ethically we're like, hey, we can't be part of that anymore. And there are still a good couple products that are on the market, like harnesses, but as a full complement to dogs that are and canine teams that are going out there, you were it. Like from leash to tug to harness to to everything else that goes into that. Like it was a one-stop shop, and quality is a concern of yours. So.
Well, and if you ask anybody that has had a harness malfunction or something like that, we immediately rectify that. We pay for shipping to get it back to us. We will fix the problem and get that back out to you, so you're not missing a harness for more than a day. It's super important for us to make sure of that. And then if there's design tweaks and stuff like that, one of the big things that we do is, especially we just came out with that insertion harness, which isn't for everybody, right? That's like the $1,000, $1,200, the $1,500 harness for the people that can afford the $600 version.
Sure.
That's why we made that. And, I sent that out to, a bunch of dudes that I knew that were coming out of helicopters a lot to see, I was like, beat the absolute shit out of it. And tell me what worked, tell me what didn't. Do you like this? Is this design good? Did it cause that problem? Is it too tight here? Is it too big here? Whatever it is. And we send all of that out way before you guys even notice it.
So you're doing a bunch of R&D in the
100%,
yeah.
yeah.
This is what you're talking about. This is the insertion harness. Yeah. Can you kind of just talk about what went into this, so we can kind of have an idea what goes into every, I guess, thought wise and development wise, and what made you decide hey, we should exit here. We should,
Right. Yeah. I mean, it looks like a flumpy thing because there's no structure to it until it's on the dog. But sorry.
No, it's good.
Police Canine. Police Canine Radio, everybody. So, the big thing for us with this was we have to, we had a guy come in that was a pararescue guy. So that's Air Force. He had the first canine in the pararescue space. So just search and rescue, for the DOD, which was the first one. And he's running a very, very well-known, very pricey harness. Which is an absolute gorgeous harness. It's made for the dog, as if it was like a wetsuit. It's made perfectly for the dog. But the problem that he was having is he would be in a southern state where he's stationed, and the dog's running it, and it's totally fine, and it's aired out, and there's mesh and stuff. And then he would then get a call to Rainier for an avalanche, and get flown there that day for a body recovery. And then so now he's putting a jacket underneath. And all this kind of stuff. Now the harness doesn't fit
anymore. Yeah.
And he was like, I don't know what to do. He's like, now I'm risking the dog if I don't have, now I can't rappel out of the helicopter with the dog. They have to ground the helicopter on the side of a mountain, which is not good. They want to be able to drop you, so there was all these things. And he was like, we need this total body wrapped style harness, but it needs to be adjustable, which with if you see most of them, they have a zipper. Right. They have a zipper down the side. And I always hated the zipper because I was thought about me with a zipper. I'm like, I was like, don't catch that here, don't catch that, and I was like, couldn't imagine the dog, so I was just but I always kind of hated the zipper idea. And this was kind of my passion project when I first started was I wanted the Gucci harness, right? I think all of us see the, the cool dudes with the nods on, and we're like, I want to be that guy. So I wanted to always make something like that, but I didn't have the knowledge or the wherewithal to get to that point until I, developed stuff for many years. And, with this one, the big thing was it's body wrap style, but it's fully adjustable, 6 Cobra buckles that are on top. So it's not in the way of the dog's legs or anything like that. But the big thing was, connecting the straps differently than anybody else has done. So, you know, on the back of the harness, this buckle connects to the front harness, this buckle, so it X's through. And the reason why that's important is because, you know, if you look at like structurally, like a bridge or anything like that, a triangle is way stronger than a rectangle. So if you have these two, right, that just go straight down and across, then, you know, when the dog gets lifted, it's going to buckle the stomach.
Right.
You know, if it does anything right. So this is going to disperse the pressure in such a, like, way more poundage wise. It's going to be able to disperse the pressure around the dog's body to where it's actually comfortable to be lifted. And then adding things like, you know, putting the Swiss seat attachment underneath, you know, so like when the dog does get lifted, it gets pulled in a perfect opposite direction, you know, equal, you know, so you're not attaching the Swiss seat here or to something back here, and then it's pulling
away
back.
from it. Yeah.
So it's pulling in a perfect equal way, you know, and then, you know, having, you know, there was something about like the big suitcase handle I always liked with the eyelet in it. I always thought it was like, you know, and then being on search and rescue, I was like, oh, that's why. You know, it's for the actual lift, you know, which that's also what the operator needed when we talked about it. You know, and then have mesh to give it a little stability, or have Cordura to give it a little stability, and then mesh and everything like that. And, you know, and then make the harness to where that guy can do his job. And it was like, I'm making this harness for one person, you know, but then how can we make
Trying
it
to make
for
it so it
everybody?
applies to everybody.
100%.
When you're going through the process of building something like this, are you starting off with like drawings, paper? Or are you cutting it out? And
Yeah,
just like,
me and the other guy, Matt, like we have, like he's got probably 20 years of drawings, like just books, stacks of books that are just things and ideas that he has. I got stacks of books of just like, ooh, I think about this, or like, oh, that could be a cool product, or like I see something in like the civilian space, like, oh, that's for a human. How could that work for a dog? Fanny pack, right?
Right.
Like same kind of stylistic way. But it all, the whole process is to be able to build something efficiently for the end user and make sure that they're happy with it. You know, if they're going to spend money, I want them to spend money and be happy with the product. I don't want to spend money because they're like, oh, they're cool on Instagram.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, like,
do you have a version of all these things that are kind of just tactical that aren't really tactical?
yeah. Well, no, I have a lot of like early versions that just you'd look at it and go, what the fuck is that? You know, like, you know, buckles in places that don't make sense, and, you know, like Velcro here and bungee over here, and like, and it's all like just, you know, this version and then version 2, version 3, version 4.
Tighten
like,
it up and
yeah,
seeing
you
what
just
you like.
keep going until you go, oh, that's what we want to do.
What's your favorite creation so far?
That's a rough one, man. Because I love creating, man. And you know, one thing that I'm really trying to work on, in all honesty, like if I can tell like a downfall, which is like I get done with a product and then I'm done with it, and then I want to move on to the next thing, you know.
Yeah.
Which I need to, personally, I need to like hold on to it for a little bit, you know, and like kind of sit in it, you know, so that like there's no loose ends that could happen. Sure. You know, I need to see it, you know, so that's one thing personally I'm working on, because, you know, like I don't really think there's a favorite. I got so much ADHD in this fucking brain that I'm like, oh, on to the next badass thing, you know?
So, speaking of ADHD,
Yeah, no, right.
pull that thing
Yeah,
up.
I got
Which
way
we're
too much
gonna we're gonna call it a fanny pack.
Yeah, so it technically is a
Yeah.
fanny pack. If you looked at it like this, it would be a fanny pack, you know, and it straps around. But when we made the first dog trainer fanny pack and we wanted to do an XL version, I wanted to make the chest rig that I didn't have in search and rescue, that I couldn't find, that I had to build myself. That was important to me. So I built out, you know, the extra large version of our fanny pack that also still has the treat pouch. And, you know, I took away the tug dangler, or the tug part that was on the front. And the reason why I took the tug part off is if you had a tug in there, you couldn't fit anything else in there.
Right.
You know, so now we have the tug dangler that we already developed, that then I was like, how do I put that on here? You know, and then I took from like Spiritus, you know, their Velcro system on the back, you know, that Velcros up and they have flaps, you know, to be able to put like a dangler on it. So if you want the tug dangler, a med kit, or whatever it is, you can just Velcro that right in. And then I wanted to be like, well, if I want a fanny pack, I can run a fanny pack. You know, if I want a chest rig, I can run a chest rig. And how do I make that to where it's functional but also looks good? Because it's gotta be, you know, like no one's gonna wear. I mean, that's why it's like Fjallraven, right?
Yeah.
Like as we go back to that, like I remember finding that company in like 2017 and wearing mismatched pants, and people were like, "What the fuck is that, dude?" And I'm like, it's the coolest thing you've ever seen, you know. And now it's like, oh, this is the coolest thing. But you know, the thing that they did was like it looked so wonky, but like you just keep moving the needle just a little bit, and the wonky stuff looks cool, you know.
Right.
Like for me, like I like mismatch, you know. So I got black multicam with multicam, you know. Like I think that's fun, you know. Like everything like that. I try to mismatch a lot of different stuff. I mean, like my stupid radio is fucking dipped in black multicam. I don't like Gucci things at all. I don't pay stupid money for anything.
Oh, I can tell.
But you know, the whole process is just to like build things for people. You know, like there's enough piece of pie for everybody. You know, like and our important thing is we just want to get good equipment in good people's hands, and that's as simple as it is.
Well, and that's one thing you didn't notice that I noticed, because I was just kind of following around and watching what was going on over at the vendor hall. And I watched you one day go by almost every table, stop and make a connection with people, look at some stuff. And I know you've got some friends that are in the same industry that are building similar things. But it wasn't like, hey, we're over here, we're selling our stuff, everybody else be damned. Like,
camps.
yeah, it was very much like, and we talk about it all the time. There's enough work in the dog industry to go around for everybody, and not enough everybody to go around for the work, right? Like,
Exactly.
I mean, so I think it was cool to sit and watch you kind of be a fan of everybody else's stuff when you know, or at least we know, that everybody looks at Ray Allen like, oh shit, they've got it figured out.
Right. Or looks at us as the enemy.
Right,
Yeah, because we're the big guy, you know, and like
Yeah, there's a Walmart status, right? Sometimes.
Yeah, no, right. And God, it's so hard because like one thing I just wanted everybody to like know when I started was like we had 45 people. We have 45 people from the president down that make everything. You know, and so it's like we're not Walmart, man. Like we're not shipping this stuff overseas. You know, like this is all made in house in Colorado just for you. And I wanted to change that. And the other thing is like I make connections in this super weird way. Like I genuinely just love talking to people. I love hearing their stories. I don't judge anybody. Like, well, I judge people, but I mean, we all judge people.
Yeah, just keep it in.
Right, yeah, but I'm just like, you know, like it's like, you know, I will name a couple people here, like the Hortons are here. Love the Hortons, you know, like they're a great family. They make great equipment, you know, like I love them. So like they're just good salt of the earth people, you know. Modern Icon, you know, like we call each other frenemies, you know, like it's you know, like I'm developing something and I'm like, hey, like, have you thought of this? And he's like, no. I'm like, yeah, I got it. And he'll call me and he'll be like, do you have anything that's anything close to this? And I'm like, no. And he's like, all right, cool. You know, because we just want to make sure, like, because also the court of public opinion is rough too.
Sure.
You know, so you come out with something and you're like, oh, like this is, you know, because everybody thinks they have the one idea.
Right.
Like, it's the only thing. Oh my God. You know, and then like someone's like, oh, they copied it. And it's like,
Oh, trust me. In the dog
Yeah.
training world, we
Oh,
know.
right.
Like I came up with this new thing. Like when dogs do cool shit, like I say a word and then I give them food. Oh, really? That's yours, huh?
Well,
You came up with that?
Right. I'm like, there's cave paintings with dogs on leashes. We did not invent that. I fucking promise. You know, like might have been around the longest, but we did not invent it.
My wolf kept running away, and the only way I tied this umbilical cord thing to it. You know?
Yeah. The stretched out leather thing, and just somehow, like now, leather leashes are a thing. Wow. You know, but like for us, it's just about that innovation. You know, like we've been around for so long that if you don't have that innovation, like you're gonna die.
You're right.
You know, and the big thing for us is like we don't copy, you know, like anybody, and like we have those conversations with our competition, you know, in quotes or whatever. But it's like, again, like we talked to Modern Icon, we talked to Hortons, we talked to Blackjack Leather, you know, they're all great people just trying to do the same thing.
When you see something that you like from somebody, like say you like, I was just in Nisbeth's class speaking of Hortons, and he's like, my favorite hidden sleeve is the Hortons. Do you have the ability to go to them and say, hey, like we really like this. Can you, or is it easier for them just to do their own thing?
Yeah, for us, we just go buy it from them.
Perfect.
Buy their stuff. I mean, I remember we were in, you know, there was like, what's that special group on Facebook? Was it like the Leo discussion?
Oh, yeah, Elio. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like I remember like one time someone was like, oh, like, you know, because everybody goes, oh, I need this. Where do I go? Right? And they're all just plugging in companies. And one guy was like, hey, Ray Allen, like, why don't you have this? And I was like, buy it from Hortons. And like, everybody was like, what? And I was like, they make a great sleeve. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know why, like, like, I don't have to make it. Like, they provide it. Why is that a big deal? Like,
Right.
you know, it's like, we provide a lot of other things. Like, you can look, we got a catalog.
And I think that's the cool thing. And I think when Greg and I, like, that's ethical. Right. And I think there's some solid ground to stand on when you can stand on ethics, right?
Yeah,
like
no,
when
right.
you're like, and passion. I think you combine ethics, passion, and a broad range of choices. That's pretty cool. That's a good place to be. I think it lends to respect in the industry.
Yeah.
And as you, I mean, today or during this Hold the Line,
Right.
During this event, I would venture to say you don't need to be here financially, right? Like you're not making a big killing
At all.
at this, but you're here supporting the industry.
100%. And you know, and like we go to a couple different things every year, and like it's important to us because like we're not going to see the same people at this one that we see at another one. Yeah. You know, we're like we want to make sure that like I don't care if you got one dog in your department or you're LAPD. You know, like I want to help everybody. You know, like all I want is for good people to have good gear in their hands, and that doesn't actually like. I mean, like, I would love it to be like, oh, there's the Ray Allen tag, you know, but at the same time, like, if you love that sleeve from Hortons or you love this, you know, collar from Modern Icon, absolutely go for it. They make great equipment and you're not going to be disappointed, you know? So, like, and then when you need, you know, this thing, I got the Dog Trainer fanny pack for you, bud. You know, like, it's okay. Like, we can cross pollinate. I promise like you said, there's enough piece of the pie for everybody here. And everybody just needs to chill on thinking that they're just, you know, like it's just no humility anymore.
Right.
You know, everybody thinks they're just a god because they made a dog sit.
You think, I mean, we're going to go deep in the woods on it. You think social media is kind of fucking with that a little
100%.
bit? Because you have to get something out, right? I did something. I have to get it out.
Yeah.
I have to show that I'm the one that you need to come
Right.
to. And then you almost put yourself in a position of like, well, I guess we need to be combative with the other guy.
Oh, there's something actually, and we can talk about this off air. There's something going on at this show, not with us, but like something going on at this show with that happening. You know, and it's
Social
just
media
like,
battle?
Yeah, it's so dumb. You know, it's so dumb. It's just like I used to be so hot. Like I used to be so hot. Like someone would be like, "You stole that from me." I'd be like, "Who the fuck?" You know, motherfucker, you know who I am, mother? You know, and it's like, whoa, you know,
Simmer down.
right? Yeah, because it's not needed. Like, cool, dude. Like, I hope nothing but the best for you. I hope you know, like people that like shit on other dog trainers. It's like, just make your money.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, that's our favorite thing to do. We love, since we've been here, we brought in a couple trainers that we've never met until we came here. And we're like, dude, come sit on here, like have a platform.
and they're
we'll
like,
talk about.
oh my god.
Yeah. I mean, there were some nerves, right? But it's cool because in everybody that we talk to, we learn something.
Right.
I mean, that's our goal.
Dude,
and
I used to go to seminars just to learn shit I didn't want to know.
right. Yeah. Sometimes
Like,
we
all the
sit
time.
down with people and we're like, I'm probably never going to use that.
no,
Like, it's
right.
good that we had that conversation.
100%. You know, because like again, like you know, like I mean, it used to be cool to catch a dog on social media. You know,
Make
like
it fly.
make them fly, baby.
Yeah.
You know, and like set it up for the perfect catch, and like what, you know, and like it's like 1,000 people catch dogs every day. Like, okay, what's the next thing? Oh, we're gonna triple backflip off of it. You know, it's like okay.
That's why it's
You know?
cool. That's why it's cool. You work with Mike Jones. Mike
Right.
Jones, shout out to Mike Jones
Yeah.
with Primal. He's one of the coolest fucking
100%.
dudes, and he rarely shows a dog. I mean, he's got
100%.
dogs, and he can
Yeah.
train the hell out of a dog,
Right.
but he's just cool, man.
Yeah.
So if Mike Jones has got a hoodie and it's got a, you know, it's,
Yeah,
it's
no,
got a
right.
tug in it, man, I want a hoodie
Yeah, it
that's
makes
got a
it
tug
simple.
in it.
Yeah, no, right. I mean, and it just keeps it, you know, like, again, I love the KISS, right? Keep it simple, stupid. Like, why are we fighting? I mean, like, get the bad people out, right? That should be universal. You know, if they're shitbags,
Push
get
them out.
Yeah, that's not hard, you know, but like, why are we arguing with people that are good and you're also good, and just because they're good in this state and you're good in this state, you're fucking fuck that guy. You know, it's like, who cares? Like, why do you
Yeah,
care?
it's tradition. I mean, it's traditionally been tribal.
Right.
It's actually, I think it's gotten better over the years
Yeah,
with
it
these types of
definitely
things,
has.
right? But I mean, yeah, there's times you'd be like, that trainer's in that corner, that trainer's in that corner. You know, their teams with them.
Right.
You know, don't look over there at them.
Right, well, what's
don't
that?
consort with them.
Right, what's that saying? It's like you put 100 dog trainers in a room. The only thing they agree on is everybody else doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about. You know, and it's
Absolutely.
like you know, like once you get on that that Dunning-Kruger scale, right? Like, I'm a god. Oh, I don't know anything. Oh, I'm actually kind of smart.
Yeah.
You know, it's like just wait till you're past the I'm the god part.
Right.
And then start talking.
The coolest thing I've seen is every class I've gone to today, there's been trainers in the audience watching other trainers. And before, you would have not. People
No.
just didn't walk in and
No, they didn't.
But now it's almost
Only the smart ones.
Yeah.
I went in there and like, what's he doing?
You're like, is this God in there?
Yeah.
And you're just,
and then you steal their shit and make it the Tawny method.
The Tawny method.
yeah, I mean, like that's my favorite thing. I had a trainer that's in my state that I've known forever. Great canine guy, like good dude, good handler, like just a squared away guy. And I've known him for so long. Like he helped develop like a couple products with us, like because he's local, so he was able to throw it on his dog, you know, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And like he came by and he was like, dude, I just went to Eric's class, like Stambro's class, and he was like,
Yeah.
it's crazy, dude. He goes, I just never thought of it that way. And I was like, that's why it's good. Like, it's good to know, good or bad, what you like and what you don't like. And you can always learn.
Yeah, we're sharing this table with Stambro.
Right.
This is our equipment, and Ted and Eric were here, you know, recording before
100%.
we were, and we talk to those guys all the time. We're the tone information now is the Tawny method, so we've
Eric might have issue with that. It goes actually all the way down the line. But yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's we're all good friends.
100%. And that's how it should be. Like, we create a community, it just gets stronger. If there's so much infighting, the community doesn't go anywhere.
Well, it's funny, the big guys have figured that out. You can't go to Home Depot without seeing Lowe's. You can't
Right.
go to Burger King without seeing McDonald's. Like, they figured it out a long time ago, and we're like, it's mine. Like, dude, put them both next to each other, you know? Like,
Let the people pick.
yeah.
You people are the ones that get to decide our fate. Who you go to is training, who you buy equipment from, who you're doing stuff with. You get to choose. So choose. You know.
Same philosophy. I had the same conversation with Dave Reaver from Adler Horst, and he had the same thing to say. Exactly, like you
I love
mirror.
Dave. That guy's nuts.
You mirror.
Not
and
nuts
obviously,
in a bad way, but like
Yeah.
nuts in a way where
Nuts in
I'm
a
like,
scary
I'm
way.
not on that level.
Yeah.
I was never on that
Zero
level.
fear of getting bit, like zero. I've never, like, every time I'd see him, he have a patch in a different spot. Like, there'd be one on his forehead where a dog got in there, there'd be arms and everything, like, zero
I
fear.
watched this video, and again, I don't know if this is fully true because I've never actually like gone through but like when he used to talk about, it was either him or his son Mike talking about it, where like they would go over to Holland, you know, to get a dog, and then like Dave would just walk into the woods,
Yes.
and they would just send the dog. He would have no equipment, and if the dog bit him, he would buy the dog.
Yeah, put it in the van.
Yeah. Yeah, he'd take a stick, and then even when his knees
Yeah.
were bad, he would lean up against a
Yeah.
tree, you know what I
Right,
mean?
and just be
Brace
like, "Come
himself,
on, buddy."
and then release his damn dog. He had got no idea. The Dutch were like, he's crazy, he's crazy. And someone would drive away with their dogs. Like,
Right. It's wild. Like I don't have that.
No,
You probably shouldn't. Like,
No, it's not normal.
Right, but like God bless that man. You know,
Hell yeah.
like, he's just the myth. You know, and
I
the
went through
legend.
3 handlers class with Dave, and I don't think I ever saw him button his jacket together.
Yeah.
And anytime he was wearing a suit jacket, he was wearing shorts. And I think he had about 60% of his body was scar tissue.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
just
for
was
sure.
Just everywhere.
And you walked away just pretty emasculated,
Just a-
you know.
just
Like,
a-
I thought I was had some testosterone.
you were complaining about the little nip you got in your hand when he got, instead of the tug, you're like, wrapped, bandaged up.
Right. Well, and it's like the old, and I say old as if like Mike's not still doing it, like the wet newspaper bites. Yeah. You know, and I'm watching it and I'm going, God damn. And I'm like, yeah, that dog bites. It bites. I can't watch this video. Like, fuck, dude. And he's like, that's a good dog. And I'm like, good on you, man. like you got something I don't have, man.
There you go. There's the hidden sleeve that's designed out of newspaper, and you can call it the Reaver sleeve.
Right, the
You know,
Reaver
like,
sleeve.
call it
The Reaver method, you know? Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. This has been a good chat. We really
Awesome. Thank you,
appreciate,
guys.
and I know we appreciate the partnership.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I know that matters a lot to us because
Sponsored by Ray Allen Manufacturing.
and we appreciate
Absolutely.
like you said your ethics and the choices that we have and your passion for the gear. So thanks a lot for coming on. Just
Thanks,
in case
guys.
there's somebody out there living in a cave, how do they get a hold of Ray Allen?
Ray Allen was the most famous basketball player, and no, I'm kidding. Ray Allen Manufacturing, RayAllen.com, Ray Allen K9 on most of the socials, or Ray Allen Manufacturing spelled out. So Ram all day.
Cool. Awesome.
Cool.
Thanks, guys.
In the meantime,
Train hard.
and be safe.